Hey, you guys. Good morning. I'm coming at you from an undisclosed location. Just kidding. This is my childhood bedroom. So, can you believe when I was a kid, I was like, I think I'm a lesbian and just in denial about it. And then and then I just realized I was bi later on. But this poster really gives it all away. Okay, so let's talk about the Japan Pro. Hopefully I'm loud enough. This is like very first thing in the morning. So I'm coming at you. I'm coming at you raw, real. Just kidding. Okay, let's get into the Japan Pro. Uh it feels like I shouldn't be having this thing in the background, but like uh why are we censoring, why am I giving into the patriarchy by censoring women's bodies when they're just normal bodies that everybody has? So, here I am. Let's do the Japan Pro recap. So, before we get into it, let's look at the scorecards, because my favorite thing to say is, where was the real battle on the scorecards? So here we are with the real battle, which was, according to the scorecards, between uh okay, I was like, maybe there wasn't one. Eighth and ninth place. Eighth, ninth, and 10th place were all very tight. So that was Jules Schwab, Jess Feeney, and Chen Zhu. Or, yeah, Zhu? I don't know, sorry. So yeah, let's look at these pictures and let's form an opinion. Let's see what we think. So, congratulations um, to Uyanga Bataa. She just competed at the Olympia recently, obviously. I mean, the Olympia pretty much just happened. So let's pull up her front pose. So according to the scorecard, she won with a perfect score. And looking at her front pose, let's pull her up next to everyone else in a sec. But here she is. I say hair, makeup, beautiful. Suit, also beautiful, but I wonder if something with a little more contrast would pop better on her. This kind of blends into her tan just slightly if I turn the brightness up. Yeah, it still blends in a little bit, but it's still good. I think it could just be the lighting at this show. Like with the LED in the background. So let's pull her up next to her back pose and let's see what we think. So, and then we'll pull her up next to the other people too. So here she is. Here's her back pose, which we're going to put right here. And here's her front pose. So I think she has great fullness everywhere. Like, her conditioning looks very on point. You see this soft connection of the glutes to the hamstrings. I feel like her feedback would be that she could be a little bit tighter. This could just be the lighting of the show that makes me think that. But still, like, a great physique that could win many shows. Delts look super full. They are matching the conditioning in her lower half, and her conditioning matches front to back, up at top and bottom. So that's exactly what we want. Her hair, I think it looks great. She could maybe add some more extensions if she wants, but I don't think that's really super necessary. Maybe brush out the curls here just for some extra polish. But from the front, the hair looks really good. I think her feedback will just be to build her glutes a little bit more, because in her front pose, the first thing that stands out to me, and I'll pull up second place. I honestly thought it might be a little bit closer, but I had looked at the pictures a couple days ago, so we'll revisit that. But what I think is that her shoulders, she has incredible clavicle width, great structure for bikini, but her upper body looks a little bit overpowering compared to her lower body here. What I would normally say is maybe she could angle the hips more at the judges so we see more of the front of the suit bottom here, because she has a tiny waist, so it's still going to give her hourglass shape even if she opens up a little bit more. But I wonder if, since the fact is just that her glutes need a little more size, if opening up would do more harm than good. But it's just something we would have to see. We'll look at comparisons too and see if she changed her front pose in any way. But yeah, her upper body looks a little bit dominant to me, and that's why when I looked at the pictures the other day, I was thinking maybe she could have been first or second. But yeah, and then her back pose, they'll just need a little bit more size too. And she has more than enough time, being Olympia qualified, to get her glutes up to the same level that her front, that they need to be for the Olympia. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's pull her up next to second place, who was Mingru. So I don't think she's an Olympian. She just went pro last year, and that's incredible. Like, she just went pro and is now like consistently getting top fives here. The lowest she's ever placed in the pro league is fifth. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. And she got second twice now. So I'm really hopeful for her that she gets that Olympia qualification soon. I'm hopeful for everyone to get an Olympia qualification, honestly, which probably takes the prestige out of it, but I can't help but root for people to get the qualification. Okay, so here she is in her front pose, and we are going to pull her up next to Uyanga. So let me move my face. Here she is next to Uyanga. Okay, so this is what I meant with the argument that could be made. So I think that, what is her name? I think she has better balance from top to bottom in this front pose, but she doesn't look like she's just standing there. She doesn't look as natural there as Uyanga does. So you can see she's very arched, and it's pushing her entire, like, this area, like low abdomen, way back, and making her lean forward and making her ribs pop out. So you do most of the time need to arch in your front pose if you don't have the development there in the glutes yet to get that like nice glute profile that we see really well with Uyanga here. But it definitely, like, if you have enough size, eventually you probably won't need to arch so much to get that shape, because she's just posing to get the shape that she needs here. But I think it's looking a little bit forced, and when you arch that much, it's inevitably going to make your ribs pop out a little bit, which reads more as skinny than it does muscular, and this is a muscle contest. Like, that's why one of the show promoters is called Muscle Contest, you know? So, yeah, but still a really, like, a very strong pose on her. It's just that little bit of extra polish and looking natural on stage that can really separate people. And the glute profile is not so strong here. I think what she needs to do is really twist to pop the hip out here, so she gets that really nice teardrop shape on the glute. And she might be able to achieve this by not angling her toe as far forward. So we see Uyanga's toe is more at like a 45 degree, a little bit less, like it's closer to horizontal than it is to straight forward like hers. So maybe if she just angled more at a 45 degree, then she would get better glute profile, because when your toe is this far pointed forward, it totally diminishes the hamstring. We've lost all hamstring here. And Uyanga, that's another thing she could bring up. I just think it's a lower body in general here, because if she brought up her hamstring a little bit, she would look more balanced from top to bottom. So for her, it's just going to be like kind of that posterior chain, maybe a little more volume in the quad too. I think her upper body is pretty much there. And, you know, I hate to say this, but maybe some more padding in the suit. I hate to say it, but I already think she looks a little bit upper body dominant, so maybe more padding in the suit wouldn't really help, but who knows? And the reason I say that is just to get that fullness across the chest, because I don't have implants or anything, and my chest can look more shallow on stage. When you get that lean, you start to see that sternum area, which we're kind of seeing here on her. So if you have a little more volume in the suit to offset that and make you look fuller on top and not like chesty, if that makes sense, like bony, then that can help. But it obviously did not hurt her here. But yeah, so she is looking really good. I need to know where her name is. Oh, Mengro. Okay. Mengro is looking really good. I love the suit color on her. And yeah, arch a little bit less. I think the arm looks good. I think her bicep it's not really tapering from her shoulder into her arm. Maybe they would say it's a little overpowering, but I don't think it's anything crazy that change the competition for her. I think it's mainly like this pose right here, but we'll look at the back pose too and see what we think. But yeah, I think makeup could be a little bit more glam, like darker. But yeah, that's my take there. Just relax this front pose a little bit. I like that her knee is slightly angled at the judges, because we're losing all of this definition in her leg here, which reads as an imbalance. So she's conditioned evenly everywhere up here, but her leg, it just looks like a smooth plane So I would want her to angle that knee a little bit towards me, because you can see her toes are angled closer to the back curtain than they are towards the side of the stage, or the judges. And we see the opposite thing here with Mingru. And again, with Mingru's shoes, I think a shoe more like this would suit her better, and maybe she'd be able to pose a little more comfortably in them. Okay, so that's my take on the back pose. And I'm going to keep her picture up. Okay, I mean on the front pose. And then now let's get into her back pose. Oh, this stinks. Okay, so it's not, they don't have a fully posed picture here, but this is the closest we have, honestly. And what I'm seeing here is that she is relaxing her glutes. You want to keep that arch in your low back the whole time so we don't see these glutes start to drop. And that's something that judges look for, like especially in your walk to the back, but definitely when you're doing your spins on stage from your front to your back pose. So keeping an arch in the back the whole time is very important. If we look at the comparisons, we'll be able to see what they both looked like right next to each other on stage with the glute situation. So who is who? We have a lot of, okay, so this is what her hair looks like. Okay, I'm going to pay attention to that. Okay, yeah, so it is her right here. That's Eureka. Okay, so in the back pose, I think that between these two, I almost feel like Mingru has a little bit more balance from top to bottom, but it's kind of the opposite issue that Uyanga's having. So Uyanga's shoulders are more developed than her glutes here, and I feel like Mingru's shoulders are a little bit flat, like they're lacking some pop, and her glutes are actually more powerful. So I think where Uyanga really ties it all together is she has this upper outer, even though her glutes could stand to gain a little bit more size, who couldn't, but she has a little bit more upper outer. She has more of that shape that they're looking for, and I think Mingru could benefit from getting more of this upper outer glute here and some more volume in the shoulders. It just looks like she's a little bit flat, and from the front she's very bubbly, like we just saw her looking very bubbly. So I think that's all that it is for her. But I think she's very close to getting a qualification. Obviously, she's placed second a few times. Okay, and now let's look at, what I do. Okay, so now let's look at our third place. Oh, okay, that's what I wanted to do. So, in a third place, we have Xinyi. So she also just competed at the Olympia. She got second a week ago and now third this week, and she's done very well when she's competed in the United States too. So here is Xinyi's front pose. I love the suit color on her. This really works for me. And the makeup, like the glam in her makeup is looking really good. Let's pull up her picture like this and we'll put it next to Uyanga's. So, okay, here we go. So she's looking very balanced from top to bottom for me. A little more detail on this leg here than Uyanga, but nothing crazy. Maybe she could have a little bit more lat to taper into the waist here, because she has this awesome glute profile, lots of shape here and lots of shape in the shoulders, but I'm seeing a lot of negative space right here. And maybe that's just like flexing her lat a little bit to get this really cinched waist. As you see, Uyanga's flexing her lat a little bit, nothing crazy, but it's really exaggerating like how her cartoonishly tiny this waist looks. That's what I was trying to say. I think her stance is great. Maybe she could put her toe a little bit further out, but I really don't. That's not a must. And I would have to see it, and maybe I wouldn't think that. But I think this front pose is excellent. I don't have anything to say. The makeup looks better than we've seen it before too. And then pulling up her back pose, because I don't have any commentary on the front pose. I think it looks really good. Pulling up her back pose and putting it next to Uyanga's. I think that, yeah, so this is the same thing I've said about Xinyi before. Well, one thing is I think the top of the hair is looking like a little bit square, so just more polish in the hair. It's looking a little bit messy to me, and we're seeing the suit tie stick out. They make the suit ties really long, so you can actually trim those and just sew it to like cinch it back together, because we don't really want to see it poking through. It's not going to majorly affect your score, I'm sure, but it's just that extra bit of polish. Okay, so looking at her back pose, it's the same thing I've said before. Her from the back, her shoulders don't look as developed. And that's, I think, an issue that a lot of us have, especially when you compare it to first place here. So that's something that I see happening to a lot of people, myself included, because when we work out, we can see ourselves in the mirror. We can see what we look like as we work out. But we can't really see our back when we're working out. We can't see our back in the mirror when we're working out. We can't see our hamstrings. And usually hamstring stuff is either seated or lying down. So it's just harder to get the mind muscle connection with our posterior chain because we can't see it working like we can when we do a bicep curl. We can look down and watch our bicep growing, JK, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that's what I think there. And I wanted to just pull up the top three all together so we can kind of, oh, okay, we don't have back pose for her. But I said her glutes were sloping off, that's it. Okay, anyway, so I think she looks like kind of just a little small up top, and her low body looks overpowering to her upper body. So, whereas I said Mingru looked really balanced from top to bottom, even though her shoulders were a little bit flat. So I think, again, it's more lats. Maybe she could even get more, I think more rear delt and tricep would really help. But her lower body, I think, is exactly where it needs to be. But you notice that she doesn't have the overall flow and balance to her physique that we see on Uyanga here, even though Uyanga has more muscle that she could develop also. But between these two, I think it's a little bit more clear why maybe Xinyu would get third place with Uyanga at this show. So yeah, more size up top is all I'm thinking. Even if she spread her lats a little bit, that would just start to throw off her balance. She would become more upper body dominant than lower body, which would be crazy because she already has like crazy awesome like upper outer glute here. So yeah, I think that was probably what went on there. And then looking at our fourth place, we have Eureka. Okay, so you know I'm very biased about Eureka because I'm a huge fan. And why am I a fan? I don't know. She just seems like a good person. I really like her, and I love her energy on stage. I think she brings like a lot of charisma, and she always looks like she's having a good time, and that makes someone very fun to watch and very easy to root for. So I know I'm biased towards her, but it is what it is. So Eureka got fourth place at this show. From what I saw her post on Instagram, she is calling it at this show, third show of the season. And it looked like she competed with her boyfriend or something at the show, and he got his pro card, so congrats to him too. And not to highlight a man on this channel, just kidding. Just kidding. Celebrate everyone. Okay, so with Eureka, what I have said in the past is that she poses a little bit hard, but her attitude kind of cancels out how hard she poses. I think she looks a little bit more natural here than normal. I still think she could bring this arm in a little bit closer to her frame, and then she would get way more balance from top to bottom, because right now with that arm out there, it's distracting and really widens the upper body. And she already, I think, is probably a pretty straight up and down person. I could be totally wrong though. That might just be me making justifications. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think, and maybe a little less bend in this knee, just slightly, like a slight change. I think she should have the soft bend in the knee, but I think it might be a little much. So yeah, maybe straighten it just a hair, and then bring that arm in a little bit. I think she has more volume on top than she does on bottom. I'm looking at like the quads and hams here, more so the quads. And right here, the wrinkling, we don't really want to see that. So I don't know if the suit is too tight, so it's pushing that skin down and making it look like more exaggerated, or if she just needs to stand up taller and that would automatically stretch the skin out, maybe that would help, because she is sitting into this glute pretty hard here, which can make the waist look thicker. And if she's straight up and down, like I suspected a moment ago, and then quickly walked back on, but now I'm going back to it, then squatting into the leg like this makes the waist look thicker, even though her waist looks tiny. Like, her ratio is really good. But yeah, bring that arm in closer, slightly less bend in the knee. Foot position I think is great. Makeup I think could be a little more glam. This is kind of something I've noticed Eureka run into, makeup not being glam enough. I think the red is really pretty on her. I liked when she wore indigo too. And I would like to see her in a green. Yeah, some type of green. Okay, so yeah, that's what I think there. Okay, and let's look at her back pose. So pulling up Eureka's back pose, I think what she needs is just more muscle. And she's come an incredibly long way with her glutes, which I will pull up. But looking at this, I think it's just going to be more overall size. And whose goal, like I have said a million times, whose goal is not a little more size in their glutes when you are competing in bikini? Okay. Oh, what the heck? Here we go. So, what the heck? Okay. So, you've seen her picture enough, so let's just look here. I think just more size in the glutes here and more coverage right here because we're seeing where that glute attaches to the low back. I was thinking maybe a little bit less arch because I'm seeing like a lot of abductor going up into here, which tells me she's arching a ton. But if she's not arching that much and she needs to build glutes, we would probably lose this upper outer edge. And I keep calling it that just because that's what the judges are saying when they give people this feedback. And then again, the arms, it needs to relax a little bit. She looks a little bit forced in this pose. I want her to either angle those elbows in more at the judges or put her hands down on her legs a little bit, so her arms straighten out more. So more like what we saw with Zinyi, which I will pull up. I think Zinyi's arms were in a really good spot. And I think Eureka would benefit from that because I think she tends to look a little bit forced in that back pose. So here is what I am talking about with that. Oh, geez Louise. So sorry, guys. Okay. There we go. Okay, so Zinyi looks way more relaxed in this than Eureka does. It's just looking forced. So I think more glutes long term, and she's calling her season anyway. And then straightening the arms a little bit more and making sure that hair is just down the center of the back. So yeah, that's what I think there. Tan looks pretty good, I think. Was there anything I wanted to say about anyone's tans? I feel like a show just happened that I had some tanning concerns. Okay, and then let's look at our 5th place winner. So, Ekaterina. So she has placed second a couple times this season, 3 times this season. And she's been close, but what do I think it is about Ekaterina? There's something. Why is this lighting so crazy? Okay, there's something about her. Her tan's too light. That's whose tan I was thinking about now that I look at this picture. Okay, so her tan is too light, number 1. Don't love the ombre suit. I think I know who her coach is, and I'm honestly surprised that he has not said anything. And maybe he has and she just disagrees. But it looks like this suit is a little bit ombre. Maybe I'm wrong now that I look at it closer, but it looks like it has some gold stones up there. And as far as her sage look, the shape is there. The shape is really good. I think the tan really hurt her here. She's much lighter than everyone else we just looked at. And then the back pose, there's just something about it for me that is not working. I think a couple things. New suit designer, because it's not looking polished right here. Like, we can't really see that connector. It's flipped. And then we need more of this part is good, the way it gives roundness to the glutes is good, but we need this part scrunched more so we get more of that heart shape, and the fabric looks really thick. And I think that is part of the problem. Like, it looks like the suit is sitting on top of her skin, and you almost want it to look like a second skin, like it's just melted onto you. So yeah, and then we don't really see any hamstring definition at all. She's very full here, but there's no hamstrings, which is odd to me. And maybe she could be tighter in the abdomen here. She looks like a little bit soft. I don't know, but it could just be that the lack of tan. I think all this is good. So I think her front pose is where it needs to be. But let's pull up another show that she's done and see if like the tan has always been an issue. Because I don't remember it always. Yeah, this tan is much better. And then there's not an official back pose for her at that show. Okay, yeah, the tan, this one was a little muddy, but this one is much better. And then when we look at her back pose, let's see if it was just a weird peak at this one where she had not really much hamstring showing or what. Yeah, no hamstrings. It's honestly a little bit confounding. Oh, what is that? Okay. Um, did I like dox myself? I don't know. I don't know how to edit videos, so I just kind of have to like live with it. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, I'm just not really seeing hamstring. More volume at this show than this one. But like I said, she looked like she was a little bit soft. Maybe she's just getting tired from competing so much. Um, but yeah, I don't really know. I think she needs just more time to grow those, and then she would be a bigger threat. Because right now, I don't think she has glute implants or something, but like that's what it's reading as when there's not much hamstring. But beautiful look could definitely qualify for the Olympia, but you just need that missing piece. And that's the only missing piece I'm seeing. Like everything else is there. And yeah, so totally doable. I think she could also arch a little bit more. She has better pop in this one. I think it's partially because she's arching more here. And the reason I say that is because it would taper her waist a little bit more. Right now, she's looking kind of straight up and down. So, yeah, there is that. And then let's look and see if there was anyone else we wanted to mention. I think there was one person. Yeah, okay, I wanted to mention I was near a cat last night and I'm allergic, even though I like to be in denial and think, oh, I haven't seen a cat in ages. Maybe I'm not allergic anymore. But like, that's not true. So I'm still like dealing with the fallout. So this is Elzavita, and I just really like her. And I was hoping to see her do really well at this show because she's placed as high as second before, I think, at this very show in 2022. And I think what she just needs is more size, like more glutes, and we'll look at her back pose and kind of see why. But this is someone who I really like and would like to see do a little bit better. So yeah, more volume to the glutes overall. So that's my take there. I mean, there's other stuff that I could probably say, but we aren't gonna get into that. And then is there anyone else we want to mention? Oh, okay, well yeah, it was a really tight race between these three, so may as well pull them up. Here is okay, maybe we don't really need to bother. Yeah, okay, we won't get into all that. But yeah, so that is my little recap of the Japan show. So congratulations to everyone who competed. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or disagreements or agreements, then let me know. And have a great day. Bye. How do I end it? Bye.